We've looked before at some words that English ultimately seems to have got from Egyptian. In our last part we looked at animals and vegetables, so today of course we're looking at minerals, or at least things that fall into the mineral world. Adobe is a word with very modern associations, but also refers particularly in American English to a form of sun-dried brick. It comes to us not from Latin, but from Spanish, which gets it from Arabic, which gets it from Coptic. Ultimately, it comes directly from Toba, brick. I'm counting this as mineral because it's a clever use of clay, but it could be under vegetable, since as the ancient Egyptians made them, it's also a clever use for straw. You're probably familiar with the chemical ammonia. Right now, some of you have just had a light bulb moment as you repeat the first two syllables in your heads, and you're spot on. The very handy salt we call ammonium chloride was referred to by the Romans as sal ammoniacus, because it was discovered west of Egypt, near a temple to Amun, Ammon in Greek. Fun fact, the etymology isn't what's disputed here, but the salt itself. As is often the case in the history of chemistry, sometimes the ancient name for a thing doesn't quite match up with the science. It turns out that sal ammoniacus might not have been ammonium chloride after all and was just sea salt. Either way, it gave its name to one of nature's most useful and disgusting smelling compounds, and the rest is history. The hardy rock known as basalt is a fantastically useful mineral in construction. As well as its commendable physical properties, it comes in some strikingly beautiful colours. It can be buffed to a glorious shine and can be carved very finely, so was highly prized in antiquity for the making of statues. The dark colour it often exhibits also gave it a valuable use in the assaying of minerals, and this is where our etymology begins. A touchstone is a tablet of dark, fine-grained stone against which you might scrape an object purportedly made of gold. The item, say a coin, will leave a distinctly coloured streak across the surface, which you can compare to a sample whose purity you've already tested. The streaks will be different colours if the purity is different. The Greek word for a touchstone was basanos, which derives from the Egyptian bachan, which referred generically to hard stone. Now, we've got a 2-for-1. 2 chemical elements with 1 Egyptian origin. Well, 1 and a bit elements. The word nitre has referred to several chemicals throughout history. Nowadays, we usually use it to mean potassium nitrate, a salt with a variety of uses, including the historical manufacture of gunpowder. In the past, nitre has referred to a mix of salts called natron. Natron, primarily comprised of sodium carbonate, was a salt with many uses in antiquity, the most iconic of which was the preservation of corpses during mummification. In the early 1800s, competing names came about for the element we now call sodium. Obviously, sodium won out over the alternatives natrium and natronium, but those alternatives made it to the periodic table, where the chemical symbol for sodium is Na. Meanwhile, because of the multiple uses of the term natron and its international ambiguity, it would lend its name again to the element we now call nitrogen, the words nitre and natron, and therefore the words nitrogen and the chemical symbol for sodium both come from the Greek nitron, whose origin is the Egyptian word for the sacred salt used in mummification, which they pronounced something like natri. This comes from the word nacher, meaning god or godly or sacred. Given the supreme importance of both sodium and nitrogen in the composition of life on Earth, I think this lofty etymology is quite suitable. The last entry is possibly the most conspicuous use of minerals the ancient Egyptians came up with. It might not shock you that the word pyramid has an Egyptian origin, but the Egyptian word did not refer to the pyramid itself. This etymology is disputed in a really fun way, where there are 2 etymologies, one Egyptian, one Greek, and both have strong cases for and against. The Greek etymology is that the term pyramid came from a type of cake, pyramis, shaped similarly to the monument. The problem with that is, we've never seen any depiction of these cakes, either in picture or in writing, before the word was used to refer to the monument. So it might well be that the cake is named after the monument, not the other way around. The Egyptian etymology is that it comes from paramuse, a term that seems to refer to the height or extent of something, and only seems to have been used to refer to the height or extent of a pyramid. The problem with this etymology is that the Egyptian phrase seems to be too early for the Greeks to have come across and adapted it, so who knows. That's it for the minerals list, at least as far as I can tell. As always, let me know if you've thought of any I might have missed. For bonus points, there's a word I've used in this video a few times that has an Egyptian origin, and I'll talk about it in the next Egyptian words video. Feel free to place your bets in the comments, and as always, life, health and prosperity to you all. Thanks for watching. Head over to my channel for more, or click here to see what the algorithm thinks you should watch next. I hope you'll consider subscribing. If you'd like to support and collaborate on the channel directly, head over to patreon.com/armchairegypt. You can also join my Discord community. There's an invite link in the description.